We're bringing you a long-awaited update of the construction that's happening on the Hot Springs Creek Greenway. And with me is always my faithful and trusty partner in all things Greenway, Ken Freeman, who is the Trails Coordinator for the City of Hot Springs. Ken, it's a beautiful day on the Greenway.
It's always a beautiful day on the Hot Springs Creek Greenway Trail, Terry, and although normally when we get together down here, we get to wear bike helmets. You know, today we're wearing helmets of a different sort for a different reason.
Yes, and it's all about safety where construction is concerned. And today you're going to explain to us exactly where we are.
This is a section of the Hot Springs Creek Greenway Trail that's under construction. And if you, for some of our trail followers, they look at the Hot Springs Creek Greenway Trail graphic on the city's website, and they're able to kind of follow along when a different section is being built or when it's opened, and so this on that graphic, this is known as the Utility Service Center section of that. There are 3 phases of it, and this is the 3rd phase of that Utility Service Center trail. Now, technically, it's the Hot Springs Creek Greenway Trail Phase 5C. Now, you know, but and we have lots of different names for it, as you can see, and a lot of times we kind of jokingly refer to this as the Happy Old Troll Trail, since it goes underneath the Golf Links Bridge, and we remember some old troll fairy tales, you know.
So, as Ken said, go to cityhs.net, and under Parks and Trails, you can find the map that shows the entire Hot Springs Creek Greenway plan from start to finish, and where this section is within that map. So you mentioned that the nickname is the Happy Old Troll Trail. Tell us about some of the very unique characteristics of this stretch of trail.
This is a unique section in that it involves lots of different construction techniques and lots of different concepts involved here. At the beginning of it, which is over at the intersection of Adams Street and Seneca Street, where the other phase of the Utility Service Center trail stops, it's an asphalt trail, 12 foot wide. It's going to be an asphalt trail for about 100 feet or so until we run out of ground to put the asphalt trail on, and then the trail becomes an elevated boardwalk, also 12 foot wide, with a concrete deck on that elevated boardwalk, and which we're standing on a part of as we speak. That's about 300 feet, and just about where the camera is where that boardwalk will come back to ground, and then it'll be concrete trail for about 100 feet or so to go underneath the Golf Links Road Bridge that's over Hot Springs Creek. And then we have another little section of decking that crosses a drainage way, and then there will be an asphalt trail 12 foot wide for about another 800 feet on downstream.
So lots of variety.
Lots of variety, and for the contractor, it's particularly complicated because it involves 2 very substantial subcontractors that he has to depend on and wait on things for, and one of them is the foundation of the boardwalk, the people building the foundation, Foundation Specialties Inc., and very specialized in doing small micro piles that we're using to support the foundation. And the other is Permatrack, which is the maker of the precast concrete decking, which we're standing on, and which will form the deck of the elevated boardwalk behind us.
So it's unique even in the contractor arrangement.
Yes, yes, and in deciding what things to do first while you're waiting on something else to get done, or that one thing can't be done before another because it might get in the way of doing something else.
So in
And
that way, this has been the most complicated leg of the Greenway to construct.
yes, yes, I think we could say that pretty easily. Say that it's the most complicated. The contractor, because of all the others things, he did a lot of the things that he could do and that had to be done first, which was excavation on the trail south of the bridge, and finished that up and asphalted it before we really got much going up on this section, because of the foundation specialties folks and the decking folks their engineers had to come to a meeting of minds on exactly how to work with each other on what they're building.
Well, eventually, when people enjoy traversing this section of trail, those who are engineering minded are probably going to really appreciate all that went into its construction.
Yes, this week, and yesterday it was a kind of a milestone that the last of the pilings were actually drilled yesterday. They don't have their cement inside the pilings yet, but the pilings are drilled and are setting, waiting. They're putting in the cement into them this morning, and then the piling part of that will be finished. Then the subcontractor will come back and put steel caps and side bracing on those pilings, and then after that you can put in the beams, the stringers, which you can see behind us. There's some beams out on tops of some of those caps and stuff right now, and and then it'll be decking going on after that.
Wow.
And of course, one of the things they were waiting on, they couldn't put more caps on going behind us because they were waiting to get there's an overlook going to be on the boardwalk as well. And they were drilling the pilings for the boardwalk as one of the last things, because once they're drilled, you can't access into this area without getting in the creek. And so they were trying to minimize that.
So it's all part of a very complicated sequencing.
It's kind of like a giant IKEA furniture project.
But the overlook, when they finish it, will probably offer one of the most spectacular views along the Greenway.
I think this section will be very rewarding to people who come out on it. I think they will really enjoy it.
Tell us about the funding, because all along it has been the construction of the Greenway has been very dependent on attracting funds, grant funds. And I know you're very instrumental in being able to obtain those grants.
Well, it's the downside is that it's taken us a long time to get to where we are right now. The upside is that we've been able to take advantage of on every phase, on every construction project, have been able to take advantage of some amount of grant money that was available. The Federal Highway Administration makes money available through their Transportation Alternatives program, and it's administered by the Department of Transportation in each state. And so we apply for grants from the Arkansas Department of Transportation, and when we get one of those, then you go through the steps of that process, to get to the point to where you can actually do construction. And you have to provide, there's a 20% local match on those, and that match in most cases has been provided partially by the city of Hot Springs, of course, and very luckily also by Hot Springs Friends of the Parks, which is very supportive of the Hot Springs Creek Greenway Trail.
And let's not forget that the recently completed Do for the Parks raises money for Greenway construction, and that is part of the equation as well.
That exactly, yes.
Which is
Yeah,
fantastic.
It takes a lot of people being involved to help us to get along on the trail construction.
Well, thankfully, there's tremendous support within the community for the Hot Springs Creek Greenway. Everybody knows the phrase "to the lake" because we're going to get there. This is Jean Wallace's legacy, our director of Parks and Trails, who will soon retire. In fact, by the time this airs, she will be happily into retirement. But she's got her handprint throughout the Greenway, and we want to mention that and give Jean the credit and for the vision, and also the persistence to be able to have come this far. And I know she'll also be there when we complete it at the very end of the Greenway map.
Yeah, well, hopefully she'll be at those ribbon cuttings as we go along.
That's right. So, as we're talking about vision, what is the next step for the Greenway after this one?
We actually have one of those grants that I was mentioning, the Transportation Alternative Program grant. We applied for one in 2016 and got awarded that grant, and we're working through the steps to get to where we can actually put it out to bid, and that will go from where this phase ends, and it'll go from there and have 2 bridge crossings involved, and will end up with a trail connection down to TV Hill Road if we're able to get the bids, within the money we have. So that'll be another exciting phase. And it's kind of like right about where we are is a transition phase in the Hot Springs Creek Greenway Trail from where it's been trying to fit it in a built-up area, and then once you go under Golf Links Bridge and head south from there, it starts to take on more of a being in the woods, being away from the urban area type of setting.
That's going to be so fascinating. I know everybody is waiting in great anticipation for when we can use the area that we're standing on today.
Yeah.
And that will happen in the coming months. Do you have any idea of a time frame, weather permitting?
Yeah, well, yes, there's lots of little factors involved in that, but I'm saying 1 September.
All right, that sounds like a good goal. Indeed. Well, and I don't want to forget to point out that right to the side of us is a magnificent little sneak peek of the Hot Springs Creek. The views are just incredible here. And as we wrap up this segment, we will not only be focusing on that beautiful view next to us, but we're going to take a stroll, aren't we, you and I? Yeah. Through as much as we can of the recently completed stretch, although it's not open to the public. We'll point that out. Probably won't be when this program airs, but we will be able to at least give people a sneak peek, right?
Yes, and unfortunately or unfortunately, as people drive along Golf Links Road, they can see that the completed asphalt stretch, and are very questioning about how come they can't get on it yet.
Yes.
But it's this construction that's going on in here prevents that from happening.
We'll just have to point that out, because with construction comes risks to safety, and we have to be very cognizant of protecting the public safety throughout the project. So until it's open, it's not open. But we will proceed to wrap up this segment and show everybody that sneak peek that we promised. So Ken, as we wrap up right before our walkthrough, thank you for all that you do to oversee this segment as well as all the other segments of the Creek Greenway. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Terry.
And as we wrap up and take our tour, we hope you'll join us next time for City News.